Hello and welcome to the Predictive World and the second webinar on data sciences and their application to business development and customer engagement. I'm Bernie Schmidt, Head of Marketing at SalesChoice, and today I'm joined by Dr. Cindy Gordon, Founder and CEO of SalesChoice, and its Chief Data Scientist, Dr. Yannick Lallemand, to discuss today's topic, why Chief Revenue Officers will value Chief Data Officers. A few words on Cindy's background. She is the founder and CEO of SalesChoice and the author of 15 books covering a range of contemporary business topics, including technology management, social innovation, and collaboration. Cindy is the recipient of the Governor General Award for Innovation, and her professional background spans corporate, startup, and investor experiences. And she's also the national spokesperson for the Canadian Advanced Technology Alliance with involvement in the Women in Technology initiative. Welcome, Cindy.
Thanks, Bernie.
An introduction to Yannick. Dr. Yannick Lallemand is the Chief Data Scientist for SalesChoice, responsible for solving complex sales intelligence challenges. He holds a PhD in computer science from the French National Institute of Research in Computer Science with a specialization in artificial intelligence and parallel computing. His background includes research at the Human-Computer Interaction Institute at Carnegie Mellon University, plus involvement in the Google Human Evaluation team, and has done work as well with American Express. Welcome, Yannick.
Thanks, Bernie.
Before we start, we'll be taking questions, and we do this through the question box on your webinar control panel at the right side of your screen. If you do have a question, please type it there, and we'll answer it at the end of the webinar. So let's begin. I will now turn things over to Cindy Gordon.
Thanks very much, Bernie, and for all of you throughout North America. I think we've got some other folks that are overseas as well. Welcome, and really look forward to sharing these points of views. I really encourage you to outline questions early as we're talking so that we can pick them up at the end. And you know, this is really a collaborative forum to learn. We set this up because we've learned that in the marketplace there is a gap of knowledge and understanding. So hopefully you can let us know what we're doing well or not so well, and we can keep improving and building this community. The agenda, which you saw earlier, we've covered off the introduction. It's going to say just a brief soundbite on SalesChoice. Most of the focus is on I'm interviewing Yannick on his perspectives and experiences of being a chief data scientist and also transferring knowledge of insights, lessons learned, the kind of skills that are required. And obviously we want to spend at least 20 minutes or 15 on your questions at the end of this session. So brief commercial. We've been in R&D in our company for over 2 years. We are in a number of marquee accounts, but we're still in that early emergence, commercialization, validation stage. We built out a predictive analytics platform that's tightly integrated with the Salesforce.com cloud, and our main focus is on predicting forecasts accurately at early stages, and we're running now in all of our trials between 80 and about 87%. So these advanced sciences analyzing all the data patterns inside the CRM as well as external data signals are very, very powerful. We like to see that, believe that we're moving into the predictive generation, and certainly with all of these smarter interconnections playing out in the world of big data, which we'll define more, is a very exciting time for the human race. And so it's good that all of you are there, and we welcome learning more about you as our community grows. Brief soundbite with this is Dinesh Kanashandra. Dinesh is the head of sales for Macadamia Technologies. They've applied these sciences in our using our solution and have had an ROI of over 1,000% and a return in terms of cost savings of over 20 million. He will be our feature in our next webinar and the application of increasing productivity within professional services organization. But obviously these kinds of software technologies are really industry agnostic. So let's get underway with the formal of probably why you're here versus understand a little bit more about us. But the reality is that the market is staggering in terms of growth. There is so much information that is out on the rise of big data, and you sometimes step back and you really have to appreciate the speed and the velocity and the volume that this industry is moving at. Every day, for example, we create over 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. 90% of the data, however, in the world has been created in the last 2 years. Essentially, everything you and I and everyone here know today is obsolete now within about 3.5, 4 months. The ability to be agile, constantly learning, constantly alert is probably been the most acute at any time in human civilization. Just to give you a quick snapshot, this just looks from 2009 and an outlook through McKinsey up to 2020. You can see that the data volume here is growing 40% per year and will grow 44 times between 2009 and 2020. So no wonder there's a tsunami of this giant wave with 50-fold growth from the beginning of 2010 to the end of 2020. So this is all very fact-based, and now it's all about, you've got lots of data, what are the solutions to do the sense-making, what's good, what's not so good, and that's where a lot of these innovative technology solutions are coming into play. 56% of enterprises will increase their investments in big data over the next 3 years. This is absolutely top of mind in every mid to large enterprise company. Obviously, the larger your enterprise, the more data sources that you have. And there's a lot of learning that Yannick will explain in terms of understanding the difference between business intelligence and predictive analytics. And a lot of the companies are very much rooted in BI approaches, less so maybe in advanced science approaches. Top performing organizations use analytics, for example, 5 times more often than lower performers. The number one obstacle, though, is often the utility of understanding how to use the analytics to improve the business. The old world that we had was very much, you basically would create this vast centralized repository of data. Maybe you would then bring in experts to build a unique business model that's heavily rules-based to form the pattern recognition and then create, the wrapper or the app around that. Today, there's data sources all over the place, and these technologies can rapidly assemble a model in real time and not have to go through all the human planning. The sciences basically derive the solutions with very advanced algorithms. So there is a fundamental difference and a shift. So in the broader market landscape, the BI players are scrambling either to add in predictive analytics capabilities or acquire. The predictive analytics players are, madly working to form relationships with the BI players so that their software can integrate and extend their value chain. Now, the piece that we're going to zoom in for a little bit before I start interviewing Yannick is there are many different types of ways that predictive analytics play out in the industry. The most significant area where investment dollars are going to solve problem is the plight of the chief sales officer. From the perspective that 99% of CSOs right now within the Fortune 2000 are increasing their revenue target this year, but only 14% believe they can achieve it. This simply means net that the confidence level of chief sales officers with the explosion of data, the kind of market turbulence, the dynamics of co-opetition, competition, etc., are creating a lot of complexities in their ability to, really look forward out with confidence they can achieve their plans. You compound that with 30 to 60% of the middle tier in pretty well every sales organization around the world do not make their quota. It's usually the 30% of the team that help make it happen, make up for the middle tier, and that's no longer good enough. We absolutely have to get the performance ups and they reduce the sales ramps time to drive that kind of growth and productivity. And these kinds of sciences are absolutely very precious in focusing salespeople to see more and win more. This just reinforces a lot of the points I was saying in the sense that the top area for sales for predictive analytics is being focused on pipeline and forecasting accuracy. Any company that's publicly traded if they miss a forecast, obviously we all know the analysts are very tough on them. Often their stock prices may drop by 5% overnight, and the carnage that causes in a corporation is significant. So it's really, really important that the forecasting accuracy be incredibly tight. These kinds of sciences bring that type of precision. The CFO has another proxy against the VP of Sales forecast. The CEO also has a stronger risk mitigation strategy. But not just that, these kinds of sciences essentially can also tell you what to do to alter whether you're going to win or lose from a focus, but also show you where your maybe elasticity opportunities are, so you actually can increase your odds of success. So as you look at the world of sales, we're not diving into marketing or fraud or other areas where predictive analytics, just know in the line of sales professionals, sales pipeline and forecasting is the #1 area where it has a very powerful ROI for for companies for investing in these technologies. This slide is from Accenture. I don't know if many of you are familiar with the CSO Insights report. Myself being a former Accenture partner, they do really good work there. But what I really like about the CSO Insights, it's a longitudinal piece of research, and every year they survey thousands and thousands of Fortune 100 companies, and essentially what they do there is that they measure where they're getting the ROI of sales intelligence in terms of their investments. And again, the focus is a major issue. I wrote a thought leadership piece that you can pick up on the age of distraction, and it's just important to know it's harder and harder for people to prioritize what to do. There's so much coming at them. So these sciences can really do all of the pipeline, the accounts, the history, patterns maybe on things surging on the external web, and just prioritize in real time with advanced machine learning techniques what you should focus on to actually win more, and start dealing with that middle tier section where 30 to 60 don't achieve their plans. Like I said, the opportunity here is significant in terms of top line revenue growth potential. So that's a little bit of high context. I think the big takeaways are 3 points. One, this big data explosion is extremely real. Everybody should feel on edge if you haven't been learning anything recently, because we're rapidly all becoming fossils. The integration of technology as a vehicle to help us see and see more is increasingly acute. And now what I'd like to do is to go into some basic definitions so that Yannick explains the different aspects of predictive analytics versus prescriptive, etc. So you've got at least an introductory baseline understanding, and then we will in future sessions dive down and actually start to provide deeper and deeper context of the different approaches and methods, and that may be some of the questions that you may ask us in the session. So we love pictures of little children, and obviously communities help cross-pollinate, and I'm just passing things over to Yannick to continue on here and give you more context.
Yeah, thanks.